Welcome to the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. And this is the methodology virtual meeting for this month. I'm Cheryl Levy, and today I'm going to share some slides and just give you an overview of the methodology courses that we offer. And the methodology courses are the foundation for all of our country-themed certificates. And so it's one that unless you're just taking a few courses here and there, they are courses that most students will take at least the beginner level, the basic level. And so again, this is our virtual meeting, and we have a methodology virtual meeting every month. Right now, it's Brenda and I will alternate on that, but check the calendar because we're always wanting to give you a chance to ask questions or find out more about the material that's covered in the methodology courses. Okay, so this slide shows you all of the courses. There's 15 courses in the methodology courses, and they are in sections, basic, intermediate, and advanced. And you'll notice that at the end of each level, there is something called Analysis and Skills Mentoring. And that course is the one that is an overview of the other 4 courses in that level. So you need to finish the first 4 courses in the level, then you take your Analysis and Skills Mentoring course, and before moving on to the next level. And this is just the suggested order in which to take them because they build on each other. So here are actually all of the courses. And there you'll notice that basic levels in white and the intermediate levels in silver, and sapphire is the advanced level. And but those ones at the end of each one is the Analysis and Skills Mentoring courses, and they are a special group. And we have a special virtual meeting every month for just questions about the Analysis and Skills Mentoring courses, and that's our general discussion. So before you're starting or in the middle, you can go and ask questions, general questions, in that virtual meeting about those courses. Okay, and then, so in Methodology 1, we cover the basics. It's a really basic one, as if a person had never taken any courses before on genealogy, or they say, I want to start it, I don't know where to start. And so it goes right from the basics. I thought I was going to breeze through this one because I had been doing it for many years, but I learned a lot just in the basic level. And, we pick up habits that maybe are not the standard that we should be doing things. And so this is going to help you to organize and get started, how you're supposed to enter the information on your pedigree chart, why you want to do a family group record, what kind of sources, and you have to cite your sources. You have to know where you got this information from. What kind of information is it? Calendars, how to use a family history center, and those are gold mines. How to do transcriptions, making a research plan. I heard it said, if you don't have a plan, how do you know you've accomplished what you want to accomplish? And so we need to have a plan, not just here and there. And genealogy forms. There's a lot of forms that have been created that help us to gather information, and we don't have to just have it all written on a piece of paper. We have a form that's going to help to organize our information. In Methodology 2, then we're going to go into abbreviations and dates. We're going to do some more on transcriptions and reading some of that tough handwriting and talk about abstracts, extracts, and quotes. And those are all different. Those are all things that we do with the information that we find on documents. And then we're going to organize it. And you're going to use forms and charts and different ways of tracking that information that's going to help you to understand and know where to go next in your research. So you're going to want to keep logs. You're going to have checklists of what you want to do so you don't forget what you were going to look for. And you're going to use the evidence process map, which we will use. You will have that printed out beside your computer all the time when you're doing research, and how to build a good citation. And we're going to talk about genealogical proof standard and the 5 steps for that. And those are the standards that all genealogists and family historians should be following when they do the research. And then proof arguments. And and proof statements. It's when you don't quite find the information you're looking for, but you have several pieces, and you are putting it together to state this is how you came to the conclusion that you did. And then more about research plans. Okay, and then, very important, we need to know how to use the internet. Now, when I started, we didn't have the internet. And so when the internet came, it opened up so much, so many resources, and you have to know how to navigate that, where to go, how to use the tools, how to use the wonderful internet, how to use websites, which websites do you want to bookmark, and make sure that you go back there and check. Online databases, Google, social media, Facebook. You're going to want to know all of these tools on the internet that is going to help you in your research and also in your studies. There's people that are researching just certain specific surnames. And there's genealogy groups. I love my groups on Facebook. You can put a question in there, and within a couple hours, somebody will usually give you an answer or at least direct you to where you can look further. Family history and genealogical societies, they are working. Lots of volunteers, libraries, archives, and record offices are all gathering and preserving records for us to come and find for our family history. And you need to be collaborative. You need to form networks. You don't have to do everything alone and on your own. You want to share what you find, but you also want to pick the brains of someone else who's already done research in that area and can give you tips. Okay, another one of the basic courses is skills, transcribing, abstracting, and extracting. And you will refer back to this course over and over and over again, because it really is the basics of doing your transcriptions, what the rules are, how to do that, how to use citations to document where you got your information, how to use a word processing software, and what features on there to do things like superscript and crossing out and spell check and autocorrect and all of those features. You need to know how to use them when you're writing up your information. And so those are all covered in this course. And I find I go back to this course a lot. And then abstractions, that is a skill and that is a learning curve. And we're going to teach you a method that we use in the analysis and skills mentoring courses. Those are the abstractions are one of the features that we focus on, and extractions. And also we're going to give you practical exercises and again forms, and using forms to transcribe and extract information from the documents that we find. So in the analysis and skills mentoring part 1, we're going to go over the basic steps. We're going to review the evidence analysis process map. We're going to take examples like a cemetery stone, and we're going to give you conflicting information. What would you do? How are you going to figure out what is correct? What are different record types? How do you identify them? We're going to teach you how to analyze and hypotheses. Hypotheses is not a guess. It is taking the information and coming up with a theory of what you think happened and then the steps that you're going to take to try and prove or disprove that to see if you can find the information. And then we're going to, in each level, we're going to have an article. It's a peer-reviewed article that we're going to give you, and this is the one for Article 1. This one was written before the internet, so she's using research methods before the internet, so it's a good study on how she went about researching and proving or disproving family stories. And this is a really good one. But what we do is we have a virtual meeting specifically for each one of the articles, level 1, 2, and 3, or basic, intermediate, and advanced. And we have a discussion. We have questions, but you can come together and we discuss the questions and we go over it so that you really dig in and get all the information you can out of one of those articles. There's a lot of work that goes into these scholarly peer-reviewed articles, and they're putting all of their research in one place, and that's a lot. So how is it organized? How did they source their how did they make their citations and show where they got the information? How do you use footnotes? Why do you even have footnotes? We're going to be looking at all of those things and asking the questions, and then together come up with a discussion on that article. Okay, and then you're going to move on to the second level, which is our intermediate level in methodology 3. And we're going to go over definitions and abbreviations, setting goals, again, different types of information, how to organize your research, how to organize your office to be productive, how to plan your research. We're going to talk about assumptions and hypotheses. You'd be surprised how many things we just assume are true, and we haven't really researched to confirm those things. And we need to back up everything that we are saying and come up with a good theory or a hypothesis of where we're going to look next for information. And part of that is keeping a research log so that you know where you've been and you can see, oh yeah, I didn't look in this place. I need to go and add that to my research and carry through with that. In methodology 4, we're going to continue with effective searching and recording. We're going to talk about copyright, archives and repositories, how to publish stories, and how to present your research. We're going to talk about calendars, timelines, and genealogies. And those are all things that affect how we interpret the information that we're finding. Have you ever seen those double dates? I thought they were just guessing until I realized it's 2 different calendars, and that's how it is. And so until you learn that, you don't know, right? And timelines. Timelines are so important for putting it into context of what is happening and where they were at certain place and time. We're going to again go over group sheets and pedigree charts, because by now you've adding more and more to those. We're going to do surname descent charts and matrilineal descent, and talk about descendancy charts and all kinds of other charts that help give us a visual of what we're finding in our research. And then we want to preserve it, and then how to write it up, because you can do all this research, but you don't want it to just be in your filing cabinet or on your computer and nobody gets to read it or find out what you found, and you want to pass it on. And so you're going to have to write it up. so that you know, so other people know what you've been doing. In methodology 5, it's how to prove it. Okay, you've gathered all of this information. Now, what are you going to do with it? You're going to use logic, you're going to talk about assumptions, and talk about proof. And we're going to talk about evidence and using the genealogical proof standard and to uh, prove or to show how you came to that conclusion. Because you don't find all of the information always. And so if you find new evidence, your conclusion may change. And so you have to write down why you came to that conclusion, and it could get edited later on. We're going to talk about sources, information, and evidence again, because we're going to keep going over that, because that's how we analyze the information that we're finding. And we're going to talk about cluster research and using the fan club. And the fan club is friends, associates, and neighbors, or anybody who had connection with the people that you're researching, because the clue might be in their information and not yours. Have you ever looked for the parents of someone and it says unknown? But if you go to the sibling, maybe they listed the parents, and then that's how you can use it and find it out for your person that you're researching. Alternate sources. When you can't find that vital record, what is the alternate source? Where else can you look if the records don't exist or they've been destroyed? And it's going to warn you again about assumptions. We can't assume anything. We have to find evidence that says this is what it was. And we're going to look at different types of problems. What if they change their name? What if a location has changed names or a boundary has changed? We need to know those things because it's going to make a difference where the records are. And then dealing with conflicting evidence and then problem solving. Okay, and then we have a new course added to our intermediate level, and that's Latin for genealogists. And this is a basic, it's a prerequisite for the paleography course that's in the advanced level. And this has been put together to help you to prepare for that. It's going to give you just basic Latin, the language characteristics. It's going to talk about numbers, dates, and times. It's going to look at dictionaries and word lists. It's going to look at abbreviations and even medical. Medical records have Latin in them. And what about Latin given names? Maybe they were given a name at baptism that was in Latin, but that's not the name they go by. You're going to need to know that. It's going to look at grammar, nouns, verbs, and other parts of grammar. It's going to look at vocabulary. And it's going to then, at the end, have Latin in records in various countries. And the ones featured in the course are England, the Irish, and Scottish, and Italian records that contain Latin. And once you've done those four, then you're ready for AS2. And in AS2, mentoring course, we're going to cover transcriptions and abstractions. And that's a lot of the focus of AS2, but we're also going to look at, again, analyzing evidence. We're going to look at an obituary and a church record and a church register, and how to transcribe that, how to abstract it, how to glean the clues out of that, and build a research plan. In the second part, we're going to look at land transactions and then how you would transcribe and abstract that, and then put those together to make a plan. And then the article for AS2 is about same name research and how this author took her research, and she was looking to prove that Susan Glidden of Bridge Rule, Devon, England, was the same person as the one that was in Summit County, Ohio, and how she wove that together and what research she did to bring her to the conclusion that this was the same person. And we're going to discuss that. And again, there'll be a virtual meeting for that one to discuss it and go over the questions and really dig into what same name research is all about. And then for the advanced level, we have methodology 6 and professional requirements. If you're going to be starting a business or do research for others, what are the requirements to be a professional genealogist? We're going to again emphasize the genealogical proof standard, business planning, what research services look like, how you network, market, find clients, research planning, report writing, writing, lecturing, teaching, all the things that you may go into as a professional genealogist. And along with that goes a code of ethics and standards and guidelines and copyright and accountability. And so this course really rounds off the methodology courses really nicely. Also in the advanced level is paleography. And this is reading and understanding historical documents. And when I took this course, I thought, oh, it's going to be all about reading handwriting. That was just the first module. It's reading it and transcribing it, yes, but then understanding what it is saying, what the grammar was like, what is different, how they spelled, the spelling variations. Spelling didn't count. They could have different spellings 5 different times in the same document. Roman numerals, currency, calculating the currency that we're not familiar with to figure out what the probate records are saying. Calendars and dating, civil records and when civil registration came into being, weights and measures, and all of those names that we don't use anymore, surveyors, but you're going to find them in the records. Church, manor, and social life. That was so interesting because we don't understand when in this course, it's going to show you what the different dates meant, what it meant when they everybody changed jobs on a certain date at the fair. And it really puts it into context to understand the documents that you're looking at. Surnames, how surnames were developed, occupations. There's lots of old occupations that we're not familiar with, and you're going to find them in records and need to understand what those are. And again, Latin. And this one comes with a workbook, and it really helps to put into practice with the exercises the material that's covered in the reading material. So this one comes with reading material and a workbook. But I think it was one of the most challenging courses for me, but I learned so much. We also have a course in the advanced level on copyright and fair use and obtaining permission, what public domain is, copyright on images and maps, work for hire and contracts. This is an important issue that we need to know if we're going into research and making reports for clients. And then we're going to cover the genetics and medical history. And we're going to just touch on DNA and genes and chromosomes, inheritance patterns, because some people are doing genealogy because they're looking at medical issues in their family. And they're not really interested in maybe the historical things that some of us are in the stories. They're looking to try and trace the medical inheritance, and so they are using it for that purpose. And what is ethical? And how do you handle confidential medical records, medical pedigrees, tracking diseases, and finding pedigree patterns, and then, of course, medical references to understand what they're talking about. And if you, we do have a whole certificate on DNA and covering other DNA testing, and this one is more on the basics of it. Okay, and then at the end of the advanced, we're going to have analysis and skills 3. In this one, we're going to have a case study. We're going to have a 1700s English will to read that handwriting and transcribe it, abstract it, and create a research plan. Cluster research, research reports, and for reports, you always want to cite your sources of where you got your information, but you're going to need to have reports on explaining what certain record types and what is found there. You're going to need to know that. We're going to talk about copyright, and then we're going to take you through a client right from when they make the letter of inquiry, the reports that you have to do, and then giving the final report and solving the conflicting question in her request. There's a conflict that you need to resolve, and then the article for the advanced level, AS3, is about pursuing collateral lines. And again, this is more like the fan, where she had very few records in how she used other records of people around to build out the story of Sam Hansen. And again, there's a virtual meeting to discuss that. And these analysis and skills virtual meetings run every 2 months. So check your calendar to make sure that you find out when the next one is coming. But there are recordings in your course material as well if you can't attend them live. Okay, and so this is just the evidence analysis research process map that we are going to go over and over and over, because this is so important. You're going to have it printed out and beside your computer all the time when you're doing work. And this is the genealogical proof standard. And the 5 steps are reasonably exhaustive search, complete and accurate source citations, analysis and correlation of the collected information, resolution of conflicting evidence, and then a soundly reasoned, coherently written conclusion. You don't want to do all the research and then just leave it up in the air. You want to come to a conclusion and write it out. Okay, and this slide is just reminding you that if you need any help or you want to have a consultation or a mentoring session with one of our faculty members, you can go to the genealogy store and book that. And that's for not just for the methodology courses, it's for any of your courses. We're more than happy to go over that with you. Okay, and so again, this was the methodology virtual meeting, and we have them every month. And so look on your student calendar for the next one. Brenda will be doing the next one in February, and join her for her topic. And so I just want to thank you for joining me today. And this is Cheryl Levy, and it is the methodology virtual meeting. And this was from the International Institute of Genealogical Studies at genealogicalstudies.com. And I hope that you will go and check out the methodology courses and see what they're all about and how it's going to help you in your research. Thank you, and hope that you have a wonderful day.